Hi, welcome to Talk About the Passion. I'm your host, Christian Campagna. I'd like to first start off by thanking anyone who sent me a message or commented on the episode 93, the first one I put out in a couple of years. I appreciate all the positive comments, and I'm going to definitely do some more episodes like that where it's just me talking. However, today I have a guest, and a great guest at that. My guest today is Dean Rispler. Dean is a New York guy through and through, born and raised there. You couldn't be more New York if unless you were like, Vinny Stigma's roommate. In the first half of this conversation, we talk about, how he got into music and some of the stores he went to and, getting into like new wave of British heavy metal and, kind of wanting more heavier stuff is, sort of the same kind of story a lot of us guys have, similar backgrounds with this kind of music where you just want more, Iron Maiden's not heavy enough. And then the second half of this, we talk about some of the bands he's worked in either as a musician or once he's recorded, and he played in the band The Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black, Murphy's Law, played with Richard Lloyd, and there's some pretty crazy stories there. And the Dictators, of course. And then, he's recorded a lot of bands like Killing Time, 25 to Life even. And Killing Time, we both agree, are one of, New York's best hardcore bands of all time. And he actually talks quite a bit about that. Yeah. I've known Dean for a little bit now via Instagram, which is where a lot of friends I've made through the years, chatting about music and that kind of thing. And him and I have had conversations through direct message about, music and, more importantly, we've talked about cats as well, and if two grown men can't talk to each other about their cats, what kind of world would we be living in right now? Again, this is a long conversation, but Dean is a great storyteller and has some really great stories. And a note on the sound in this one, this is my first recording with a guest since coming back, and I accidentally recorded it as one track. So all of my loud yas and ums are there. Maybe you won't even notice them. In the future, these will be muted. Thankfully, I have a guest here who can hold a great conversation, and that's all that matters. If you want to hear more episodes, please like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm not going to tell you to do the thing where you hit the notification so a bell rings off every time a new episode comes out, because it's invasive to tell someone to do that. New episodes on this come out every Tuesday, which is an homage to when records used to come out on Tuesdays. And, I don't like that they moved it to Friday. What is that? Maybe like when a Ted Nugent album came out on a Friday, if that was a thing in the 70s, that would have been, cool for people into Ted Nugent. Anyway, you can also follow me on social media. I'm mostly just on Instagram at this point, and just look for Talk About the Passion podcast, and you should be able to find me there. My personal one is Caffeine and Cookies, which is all one word, and I post there quite a bit, and a lot of talk about music and other stuff that you probably don't want to read in front of your children. Anyway, thanks again for listening, and here we go with Dean Rispler. All right, well, I am here with Dean Rispler.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on. You're my first guest in a couple of years, so we became acquaintances on Instagram and
Yes.
have, talked about music, and I think we have a lot of the same taste and probably around the same age. I'm 55.
Yeah, I'm going to be 55 in August.
Oh, okay, nice. All right.
Yeah.
And so where did you grow up, Dean?
I was born in Sheepshead Bay in the south
Okay.
here in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My parents are both, I'm like fifth generation Brooklynite,
Oh, okay.
But when I was about four years old, um, we moved out to Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
Typical story.
Yeah.
And then had a very banal and insipid childhood there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though, to their defense, I did grow up in a really cool neighborhood with a lot of friends on the block. It was all kids, so that was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Then we moved again someplace else in Long Island, and that was really weird.
Yeah.
My parents were living some sort of ghetto rich lifestyle kind of thing because my,
Right.
my dad started making money and my mom was just spending it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
dad didn't care. I understand. I'm sort of like that too.
Yeah.
I was making a lot of money. I was like, yeah, I'll take everyone out to dinner. Like, and
I
my
know.
dad was the same way. He like
Yeah.
hated anyone else paid the checks and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So we had this really weird lifestyle that was way above our means.
Hmm.
And then I went to college and never came back to Long Island. I went to college for a couple of years upstate in Saratoga Springs, New York,
Yeah.
which is I don't live too far from there now, relatively.
Yeah.
And then I hated it. I mean, I made some good friends there. It was
Right.
real small, real fast. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, my whole life growing up since junior high school was every weekend going into the city, taking the train into the city,
Right.
spending whatever money I could on records,
Oh yeah.
going to see shows, and then coming home and blabbing to my friends who knew nothing about what I was talking about and didn't even
Yeah.
care about this and that. And like, so I was like, why am I here? I should be back in the city. Plus,
Yeah.
I to this day, and even when I was I hate college kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hate them. So I hated them
Right.
when I was in college. So I
Right.
was like, why would I want to be around?
Right.
Why would I want to be on a quote unquote campus?
Right.
Ever? Like this is the
Yeah.
worst, right? So when I went to NYU, you walk out of the door, you're not on campus.
Right.
In the middle
Yeah.
of
You're in the
in the
city.
middle
Yeah.
of Greenwich
Yeah. Yeah.
Village. You're like it's like you're not you're not being grazed by a frisbee while
Right. Yeah.
while Franklin's Tower is blasting
Right.
through
Right.
the window, which is fine too. I don't
Right.
care,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it just wasn't me.
Not for
Definitely
you.
wasn't
Yeah.
me at the time. And of course, at that time, I went insane. I went to every single show, every single
Yeah.
night. I was walking distance between CBGBs and all these,
Right.
all these
Yeah.
places, at the time. And I
Yeah.
was going to every show every single night. Like, so it got out of hand, but fun.
Yeah. How early on did you start getting into music, and how did it make your way into your life?
Well, I mean, as far as music in general, I was really lucky. But my mom is very musical.
Yeah.
Never took any lessons or anything, but my mom's a great singer,
Hmm.
and she taught herself how to play piano, and she taught herself how to play some guitar. She's not great at guitar, but she could hold her own with
Yeah.
chords and some stuff. So in my house, there was always some shitty guitar and the piano
Right.
and stuff. And I really wish I'd taken piano lessons. A huge regret of my life. I didn't. I
Yeah.
just wasn't attracted to it at the time. I just liked the
Hmm.
noise on it.
Yeah.
But I was attracted to the guitar, so I started taking guitar lessons when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And but I mean, before that, what got me into rock and roll is like my parents had this really shitty, like unbelievably shitty stereo, like from the early '60s in their basement.
Yeah.
Really shitty, like a solid state garbage
Right.
stereo with their scratched up garbage records. Not many records, but there are a few. But I was a kid, so I was attracted to like cool looking 45s because that's
Oh
all we
yeah.
knew, like Fisher
Yeah.
Price kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember picking up uh, this 145 Tommy James and the Shondells, and it
Yeah.
was a Hanky Panky single. But I looked at the other side. It said Thunderbolt, and I'm like, being
Right.
a kid, I'm like, yeah, Thunderbolt. That sounds
Yeah.
cool. And I put it on, and I was like, holy shit! It's like a surf instrumental,
Right.
and like
Huh.
even though it's Tommy James, it's still like a lost surf
Right.
instrumental. Like it's fucking phenomenal, like a
Yeah.
phenomenal
Yeah. Yeah.
song. So me and my friend who was younger than me, like a year younger than me, we would just put that on and go crazy. We listen to
Yeah.
this shit all the time. So then that led me to listening to other stuff, um, and then I remember specifically, I love still to this day, even though it's a dying form, I still love the radio. I really
Yeah.
do. I really love free radio, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm really angry that it's disappearing in the same
Yeah.
same way I'm angry that free TV has disappeared.
I know. Yeah.
It's
I
fucking
know.
bullshit.
Yeah, it's
Like
brutal.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh no, you have to get this digital antenna, which doesn't
Yeah.
fucking work in half the places
I
you
know.
live.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
there's no cool stations anymore. When I was
No.
growing up, there was, all these cool stations that play, this
Those
shit, like
UHF
Killer
channel.
Gator and,
UHF channel.
or like, the Honeymooners and
Yeah.
Odd Couple and all this. And like with radio was so exciting at the time. It wasn't programmed. And I was also a super night owl, so I'd stay
Yeah.
late listening to the radio, and that's
Yeah.
when DJs got kind of free reign.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
hear shit all the time that was weird, like, and I remember specifically being 9 years old and hearing Pink Floyd's "Another Brick in the Wall." It's the Wall
Yeah.
that just came out in
Yeah.
'79, and that fucking blew my mind because I
Yeah.
hated, hated school,
Yeah.
hated authority.
Yeah.
Uh, really wished, that Over the Edge was real, and that kids
Yeah.
could fucking
That
band
movie.
together and kill authority
I
and
know.
tell everybody to go fuck off. So I thought that shit was amazing.
Yeah.
And I heard that song. I'm like, what they're saying? We don't need no education and talking shit to the teacher and talking shit to
Right.
the educate. I was like, of course, my mind has changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that time, I was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
holy shit, dude, this is like, and that was it. I was like,
Yeah. That's a
I,
seed for, like just sort of getting into rebellious music and
oh yeah. So I bought The Wall. I made my mom take me to the mall or whatnot to
yeah.
buy The Wall, and then fell in love with that record. And then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started buying more Pink Floyd records,
Yeah.
and then fell in love with Dark Side, and
Yeah.
then I was already a Zeppelin fan because I had older friends and
Oh yeah.
and older friends and who had older brothers and sisters. And where I grew up in Long Island, I mean, bands like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Black Sabbath, Leonard Skinner to a point, bands like that, Jimi Hendrix. Well, Jimi Hendrix already died by then, but all the bands that were still alive for the most part,
Yeah.
we didn't see them as human beings. We saw them as
I
like some
know.
sort of demigods.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we like. We didn't, and it was for a young mind to see like the posters and stuff and these
Yeah.
dudes with long hair, and it was just like, what the fuck is this? And I was so attracted to that. Like
Yeah.
I was so like, oh my god, and their artwork was insane.
Yeah.
And I was so attracted to this alternative lifestyle that these guys
Yeah.
were living. Like I was like, oh, I found my people, and
Yeah.
I found this is
Yeah.
who I am,
Yeah.
in a really primitive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that was a big change, and I remember the year after, 1980 or 81,
Hmm.
I bought this is all shit. I was buying cassettes.
Oh yeah.
I bought the Blizzard of Oz cassette,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and that was just like that was a
Yeah.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
And and then I kept craving more, and like from there, I kept craving more and more heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like just buying more and more heavy stuff to the point where, like, when I was 12, I was starting to collect vinyl.
Yeah.
Not
Did
much,
you have a
but
good store?
what's that?
Did you have a good store like around where you
Not
were?
at that point, we probably did, but I didn't know about it because I was so
Yeah.
young. So I just
Yeah.
go to like the mall, like Record
Okay. Yeah.
World or some shit like that. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I was 13 or 14 that I started going to some independent record stores. And there was one near me. They had two of them on Long Island. This rad spot called Titus Oaks.
Okay.
I don't know what that name meant. I never
Right.
looked it up or whatnot. But that place, there was one pretty close to the house that I ended up moving to, and there was one closer to near like the Nassau Coliseum. Sometimes
Yeah.
when I went with older people, or when I started driving, I would go out to that one, see what they got.
Yeah.
So that was great, and the people who worked there were very knowledgeable and very
Yeah.
rock and roll, and they were super cool. Like, I'm a kid coming in there, and they were very, the old fucking record store asshole
Yeah.
situation.
Oh
These guys
yeah.
were not like that. These guys
Yeah.
were not
Yeah.
like that. They were super cool.
Yeah.
They were super cool. So I mean, I've been into plenty of record stores where they're not cool.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I
But
know. I had that picture I have of it's Mark Maron and Steve Albini together, and I was like, these guys look like the nightmare record store employees you'd see
yeah,
in like 1992,
yeah.
telling you to like, why don't you buy this Sun Ra album instead, buddy? Because
Yeah,
I'm
and also
12.
in 1982, that's also I had a friend in school who's I made friends with this one kid in school who was a big metalhead, huge metal,
Yeah,
and and his brother, his older brother, is really into metal, and he's like, hey man, since you're into metal, why don't you come with me this weekend? We're gonna go to this store out in Massapequa,
yeah,
and it turned out to be this store called the Wax Museum,
yeah.
which also later on reopened as Agents of Fortune, and the owner
Hmm.
just died last year. He had closed the store a long time ago, but that's when my obsession started. Before that,
Yeah,
I was into it, and I walked
right.
into this store, and to this day, I'm going to tell you, I've never been in a store this cool
Yeah, yeah,
as it was then. Like
right.
I I was getting into such obscure shit at the
Yeah,
time. You know, like
right,
now you talk about Venom. Yeah, like my
right.
mom knows who Venom is.
I know,
No one
right.
in 1982 knew who Venom
Oh,
was,
yeah, I know.
much less Motorhead, much less like fucking, Satan. I was
Yeah,
buying
I know.
like Court in the Act by Satan.
Yeah,
I'm 12 years old,
yeah,
right? And go into the store and they have fucking Venom black metal T-shirts,
yeah,
and they
I know.
have fucking, you know, Tigers of Pantang
Oh,
singles that
yeah,
come with like
yeah,
a free earring or like
yeah,
fucking Tank picture discs and shit.
yeah.
And
That's
I'm just
awesome.
like, what? My mind is blown, like
Yeah,
totally blown. And I'm like scrounging for money to buy all this shit. I
yeah,
couldn't afford much stuff, um, but that was a big change because I realized, oh, there's a whole other world here that I don't even
yeah,
know about. So I became obsessed, and that store was incredible. And that guy was super cool. The guy Neil was very knowledgeable, super quiet guy, but very knowledgeable and not no judges, no judges.
yeah, yeah.
But
And finding out about that kind of stuff after you've been into like bigger stuff like Zeppelin and Pink
yeah,
Floyd was always cool because you were just like, this is like a whole world of these bands that
oh yeah,
nobody, nobody in my fucking school, knows
yeah,
who Venom is. And, I
yeah,
remember buying that, the Die Hard 7. I had no idea who they were, but that
yeah,
cover of that where they're like surrounded by can, I bought that and it was
of course.
Die Hard and Warhead, maybe. I don't remember what the, oh no, I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, it was an exciting time because that was the absolute blow up pinnacle of new wave of British heavy metal. Mhm.
Tell you right now.
There you go. The singles. It's like a total blow up of, that was the beginning of the new wave of
Yeah,
heavy
yeah,
metal. So like Iron Maiden, like I loved Iron Maiden. I love Judas Priest. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
yeah.
I loved Iron Maiden and Judas
Acid
Priest.
Queen. Yeah,
Acid Queen.
yeah.
I
Sorry.
loved the Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, but it got to the point where like I didn't stop buying their records, but it got
Yeah,
to the point where I was like, now I'm buying fucking Raven records. Now I'm buying
yeah.
fucking like Bitches Sin singles
Oh,
and shit
right.
like that.
Yeah,
And like it got really crazy. Not
yeah,
that, and believe me, Iron Maiden, and there's a reason, as cool as that is, and it's still cool, but there's a
yeah,
reason why Iron Maiden and Judas Priest lasted. They had much
yeah,
better songs,
yeah,
much
yeah,
better bands than those other
yeah,
bands. Though
yeah,
I
yeah.
still have, of course I have a soft spot in my heart for everything on Neat Records and
Oh, yeah,
every,
yeah,
and I liked Satan.
yeah,
Satan's still good, but they're not Iron Maiden.
yeah.
They're not Judas Priest. But
No,
most people aren't. The same thing. Like
yeah,
there's a reason why we still talk about Led Zeppelin, even though I was into them when I was
yeah.
8 years old,
Right.
because they're amazing.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
yeah. So that but that year, that 12 to 13 years old, 82,
Yeah,
83, that escalated very quickly. So I couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough of the faster, louder, and heavier stuff.
yeah,
Like I got the Motorhead records and Tank and all this stuff, and then of course I was buying fanzines. I was buying
yeah,
fanzines like World Metal Report, and all this other stuff. And the interviews with these guys were like, "Oh yeah, we're really into a big influence to us is like the punk scene, the punk
yeah,
scene in England and the punk scene in America, hardcore and stuff." So I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, I should check this out." So like next thing I know, I'm buying like you know Dead Kennedys records at 13
yeah,
years old,
yeah, yeah,
and Husker, like I found that I remember going into the store and buying the Dead Kennedys record, and then there was that super cheap blasting concept
Oh yeah, that's
SST
funny. That's one of
record.
the first ones I got too, and I was
Yeah,
just
so
like,
I bought that because I was like, oh, Black Flag's on here. I heard of them,
yeah,
and these other bands I never heard of, except I've seen
yeah,
people mention Husker Du,
right,
and but I'll get it. It was like $4 or something,
yeah,
$5.
yeah,
So I was like, I'll get it. So I remember putting it on, loving it, and then hearing Real World by
oh yeah,
Husker Du. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the
yeah.
fuck? What is
The
happening
guitar
here?
sound, yeah, it was
It
just,
was like a Motorhead because he
yeah.
sounds like Lemmy on that
Oh
track,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
was just like this fucking over the top, like MX-80 fucking
yeah,
like this wall of fucking monster guitars,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was just like, holy shit, what's going on here? And then
yeah,
like there was other great stuff on there, like that
yeah.
MDC stuff, Worm,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I also started to fall in love with like the really weird shit, which I didn't think I would love. Like
yeah.
I love Saccharine Trust,
Saccharine Trust, yeah,
and I couldn't believe what I was hearing when I heard the Meat Puppets. I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck is wrong with these guys? I was like, what the fuck is? But I loved it. I was like, this
yeah,
is fucking weird. This is like I can't tell what's going on here. And that band was cool because you get to see those early days. You got to see the insane progression from
oh yeah,
one to
from
two.
yeah, I know, yeah,
Crazy,
yeah,
like
two was
really great,
amazing, yeah,
yeah, really great playing, and
yeah.
they got really good real fast.
I know, and it's so crazy they were doing that so early on.
Oh
Like they
yeah,
were so ahead of their time.
yeah.
Like,
But I will say that delving into like the nerdy fanzine situation, that got me in. Like I was really into what was regional. Like what was going
yeah,
on in these people's hometown
yeah,
that
yeah,
made them like this. And
hmm
when you go to like Tucson, Arizona, right?
yeah,
That's where those guys are from, I think.
yeah.
All the bands are weird. Holy shit.
Sun City Girls, were they from
Sun
there?
City
Or
Girls are amazing.
yeah, yeah.
That band's not even a band anymore. Like
I know.
they're like a traveling play.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I saw them once. They didn't play. They had like a theater thing going.
yeah.
And then that other band was insane. Mighty Sphincter,
Oh yeah,
fucking
yeah,
crazy. And
yeah.
Feeders were
The
great.
feeders, yeah, or
And
feeder, yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. You look back at that stuff, and not that they're bad, but the boringest band out of the whole thing was fucking Jodie Foster's Army.
Yeah,
They're like they were the boringest one. They're like,
yeah.
oh, these
Out of
people
all
fucking
those, yeah.
yeah. It's like
Placebo
oh
Records, yeah,
yeah, but all that other shit was like, what the fuck am I listening to? This is
yeah.
weird shit. This is
I know.
really bizarre stuff. But
Did you get in the Butthole Surfers?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I will say on record that the greatest live show I ever saw of anyone
Yeah,
was Butthole Surfers 1988
yeah.
with Live Skull opening at the
Oh
Ritz
wow.
in New York.
Yeah,
And I never, and the best part is the first 15 minutes,
yeah,
if I had died or was taken out and
yeah,
I never saw the rest of the show, I would still say it was the greatest show I ever saw.
yeah, yeah.
They come like first of all, it was at a time, and I'm sure you've been to shows like this where they overpack the show, they
Oh
over
yeah,
sold out, right?
yeah,
And it's at the point where like it's so packed, like you're not even standing anymore. You're
yeah,
just like sort of drifting because
yeah,
your feet
yeah,
aren't even touching the floor. There's so many people.
yeah,
And so that's happening, and then the lights go black. I mean, you
yeah,
can't see your hand in front of your face, right?
yeah,
And all you start hearing this terrible sound of like metal scraping metal
yeah.
and clown laughter.
Right,
Like fucking
right,
crazy. And that's going on for like a minute with no lights and anything. I'm like,
right.
this is fucking weird, right?
Yeah,
And everyone's been pushed around. Half the fucking crowd's on fucking Goonie Bird LSD and
right.
shit, so
Yeah,
everyone's been acting crazy and shit.
yeah.
And and then all of a sudden the spotlight comes on, and this fucking uh Paul Leary and what's his name? Jeff, bass player,
Yeah,
fucking come out wearing they're wearing clown wigs
yeah,
and gold and silver lame uh like overalls
right.
with clown shoes, and they both come out with guitars on fire.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, this is it, man.
Right.
So they come out with guitars and this crazy noise is happening and they come out and I'm like, oh my god, this is insane.
Yeah.
and they fucking just start smashing the guitars. And I'm like, okay, this is already the best show ever, right?
Right.
It gets even better. They do it again. They get
Oh,
another two guitars, light them on fire while all this is going on, and
yeah.
smash them again. I'm like, okay, this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then they do it a third time. They
Yeah.
put like two more guitars on fire, start smashing them, and as they're smashing them, all of a sudden the projector comes on with the
Oh yeah.
like
Those movies.
surgery,
Oh yeah.
and
The
like
ice. Yeah.
and like awful like uh, uh car training videos from like
Yeah.
the
Like a
60s.
rotting dog, I think I remember. Yeah, just all
Terrible shit,
sorts of
right?
yeah.
Terrible shit. And then the drummers start playing. It was the brother and sister drum team. That
Yeah,
starts
yeah.
going. And then fucking out of nowhere, they start playing. And it's awesome. I'm like, this is the greatest show ever. Nothing had
Yeah.
happened yet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then from the side of the stage, Gibby comes out just wearing jeans, nothing else.
Yeah.
He's like the skinniest he's ever been.
Yeah.
He's like 10 feet. He looks like he's 10 feet tall. And he
Yeah.
comes out with the fucking megaphone,
Yeah.
and his hand is on fire. Just on fire, like going all the way up to the city. And he's like, ah, no, no, I'm like, okay, I can leave now. And this is the
Right.
greatest show I ever saw.
Yeah, yeah.
It was amazing. It was
That's
amazing.
amazing.
And it was them at their top form.
Yeah. Was that around Hairway to Steven? Probably
I think so.
88-ish.
I think
Yeah.
so. That was like the last record I think I got from them. I
Yeah.
love that Psychic Powerless record.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's their best one.
Oh yeah, I love
I
that.
think it's best songs on there. But
Yeah.
they have a lot of great moments. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but that show was amazing. Oh, that's also when the chick from Bema Seed was touring
Yeah.
with them, and she
Yeah.
came out wearing like like with clown makeup and
Yeah.
wearing like a paper dress, and like she comes up to the front of the stage and has plates with a happy face and a
Right.
sad face, and then while they're playing, like fucking her dress is made out of like paper.
Right.
It was like some soft paper mache. I don't know what it was, like
Yeah.
putty paper, and like in the middle of this, like, and then fucking Gibby just walks by and just grabs her from the back, and she's just fully naked, like magic. I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck? And she's doing. I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is fucking crazy, right? This is insane,
Oh man.
It was an amazing show, like unbelievable, like really unbelievable.
Yeah. And so that what was the first show you ever saw, like for like live music?
The first real rock show I ever went to was Judas Priest,
Oh, nice.
the Defenders of the Faith tour with Great
Oh yeah.
Great White Open.
Yeah, I saw that
I was
tour.
never a Great White fan.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, same here.
But
I love that record too. The Priest record.
It's
Yeah.
funny. I a couple years ago, I have a friend who's not on social media anymore,
Yeah.
but he was, and he was like, you know what? I've come to the point. Defenders of Faith are better than Screaming
Vengeance.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna re-listen. I re-listened to them. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? it's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an amazing record.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's just such a weird time, like you think about how amazing Priest is.
Mhm.
Like reinvented themselves at
Yeah.
a time when everyone thought it was over.
Right.
Everyone
Yeah.
thought it was over for them at Point of Entry,
I know.
and then fucking, which I still like.
Yeah, I like.
Everyone thought it was over. It's like, oh, this is a '70s band.
Yeah.
They're over. And
Desert
then,
Plains.
Then
Come on.
Screaming for Vengeance comes out, and it's just like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
And then Defenders is like,
Yeah.
wow. And then they,
Yeah.
it happened after that. But I could honestly say that Firepower is amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that was a good record. Yeah.
I love that record. I haven't really delved into the new one. Some of the songs were okay, but Firepower was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for the out of Maiden and Priest, I think Priest's later stuff has been significantly better than the Maiden stuff.
100%. I just had this conversation recently. Like me personally, the last record I bought from Maiden was Power Slave. That's
Yeah.
the last record I bought.
Yeah.
I saw them on that tour with
Yeah.
Accept opening up. It's great.
With who opened it?
Accept
Oh, nice.
on the Metal Heart
Yeah.
tour, so that was
Yeah.
great. And then I never bought a record from them ever again, except if
Yeah.
it was like some collection
Right,
I
right.
bought some bootleg collection with like the Soundhouse tapes and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, like, I never bought a new record after that. And then years down the line, and don't get me wrong, they had some good songs. Like, I mean, like Wasted Years,
Wasted
Time I
Years,
Play
yeah.
with Madness, and there was some good songs out there. But I have friends who are like, younger friends who are very much like, dude, you have to listen to Somewhere in Time. It's my favorite Maiden
Yeah.
record. The best, the best, the best. So
Yeah.
I do this every few years, it seems like. I sit down, or I go,
Yeah.
the best part is that, oh, I'm going to go for a drive, for
Right.
work. I'll put on Somewhere in Time, right? I'll put it on
Hmm.
and listen to it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm intently listening, sometimes I'm just spacing out.
Yeah.
Only thing I remember is Wasted Years.
Yeah. Still hasn't clicked.
No, not
Huh.
one song, not one
Yeah.
song. And then after that, I just never bought a
Yeah.
record from
Yeah.
them.
I like that record, but I think Power Slave is like the last full, like whole, right?
Yeah, I had this conversation with someone today. I think I like Power Slave better than Peace of Mind. Peace
Yeah.
of Mind
Okay.
for me, when it came out, was really disappointing because
Yeah. Okay.
I loved Number of the Beast so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I wasn't feeling that. Don't get me wrong, there's good songs on there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
overall
Yeah.
as a record, it just wasn't like.
No. Okay.
I mean, Number of the Beast is,
Yeah. I
and
know.
Number of the Beast and Killers to me are
Yeah.
absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Almost two almost perfect melodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you into them? Like, were you into them with Paul Diano
Yes, very
and
much.
then,
Yeah, the first record I bought from them in '82, that was
yeah.
a very early purchase for me. Was I was at a record store that was like a cutout store. It was like
Yeah.
one of these weird records. It was a record store. Listen to this. It was a record store inside a department store,
Yeah.
but it was really a musical instrument store that had records, and I also
Yeah.
took guitar lessons from some dude.
Huh.
It was
That's
really
random.
hilarious. But they had, I wish I bought everything, but at the time they were just, it was three records for $10.
Yeah.
So I remember going there and buying, one of the records I bought was Made in Japan,
Oh, yeah.
the
I
first
love that
Iron
record.
Maiden record I got, and I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I got Killers and Number of the Beast like right
Okay.
after that,
Yeah.
and and I love Paul Diano,
Yeah.
and I loved Dickinson on that first record.
Yeah.
Um, it did it's amazing, but the way I answer questions about Iron Maiden, it's like, oh, you like Iron Maiden? It's like, yeah, I love Clive Burr era Iron
Yeah.
Maiden. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the funny thing is that
Yeah.
Nico McBrain's technically a way better drummer. He's a
Yeah.
way better drummer. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But he's not like Clive was like a melodic drummer. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember his parts. Like if I heard an Iron Maiden song with Clive Burr playing just the drums, I'd know what
Yeah.
song it was.
Yeah.
He plays riffs on the drums.
Yeah. Yeah. Nico's
Whereas
more
like,
mechanical, it seems almost.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Nico's amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, and Nico Nico at his best, even with Clive at his best, Nico probably play circles around him. But
Right.
it wasn't about that. It was like someone was playing the song,
Yeah. Yeah.
playing the drums.
Yeah.
So I guess they lost that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Songs, and after that, the songs got real convoluted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the ones I liked, like
Right.
what, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is ridiculous, so
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous. But I still loved it at the
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
I thought it was seeing it live was amazing.
Seeing it live was great, right?
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, when they
but
did that tour.
what's that?
As you said, when they did
Yeah,
the
so that
tour a
tour.
few years ago, and they were doing all that stuff.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
The last time I saw them, they were great, but it was disappointing because I forget which record it was, but they just did the whole record.
Oh, I
A
saw.
couple
Yeah, I saw
hours.
that War and Death or
Yes,
something.
that's it.
Yeah, I
That
saw that too,
tour.
and I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know either, and the only stuff they did old was in the encore.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, they were great. They
Yeah.
played great. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
Everyone was a little disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably should have known that it was. I think that was probably right before I was really on social media, so I probably
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh, Iron Maiden tickets, cool."
Yeah.
And
I think that was the same with me. I went with a bunch of friends I grew up with.
yeah,
And then I remember, I'm pretty sure Iron Maiden knew from their fans that they were disappointed because the following immediate
yeah,
tour after that was just the hits,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
didn't get to go to, which I loved.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're always fun to see. Anyway,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and they're one of the only bands. I always say this, the only band where if you go to their show almost everyone has an Iron Maiden. It's like the only band it's okay to wear the band shirt to the
Oh yeah,
show.
yeah. Iron Maiden, the three bands that you could do that:
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, Kiss, especially.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So you go see Kiss, you see the wildest Kiss shirts, man. I see
yeah,
stuff I've never saw before, and to an extent, Slayer.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
Slayer fans, like the average doofus Slayer fans doesn't the doofiest people ever. They don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
anything but Slayer. Like you could be like,
Exactly.
oh, you like Exodus? They don't even know what it
Oh,
is.
right. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you like Whiplash? Don't even
Yeah.
know what it is. Only
That's kind
Slayer.
of Kiss people too. Were you a Kiss guy at all?
Here's the funny thing about Kiss. When I was growing up, it's funny because both these are very similar stories. They both intertwine, and they're totally different. But I will go on record in saying that these are the two of the most important American bands
Yeah.
ever
Mm-hmm.
in rock and roll. The two most important American bands in rock and roll are probably the Grateful Dead
Yeah.
and Kiss.
Okay.
Um, the reason I say that is because they started a revolution, both bands,
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Um, Now, when I was growing up as a little kid and loved all this artwork that I was talking about, like going into a friend's brother's room and seeing
Yeah.
Jethro Tull War Child posters,
Yeah.
seeing like especially big one was like Deadhead stuff, like the
Yeah.
skulls
The
and all this
skulls
shit.
and
I was
stuff.
like, holy
Yeah.
shit! And it's Shakedown Street. I'm like, what is this? I never heard the band before, and I saw pictures of Kiss, and I was like, holy shit, what is this?
Yeah.
My mind's gonna be blown, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, a couple of weeks later, I hear the Grateful Dead. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not what I expected.
Yeah.
This is not heavy. I thought it was going
Right.
to be like scary because of
Yeah.
the artwork, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, so I just instantly hated it. I was like,
Yeah.
Dad, fuck that shit. Fuck this hippie shit. And
Yeah.
then even worse, what's the first Kiss song I hear as a kid on the radio?
Beth.
No, no, that would have
Oh.
been better. Fucking
I
I
was
Was Made for
I was
Loving
made
You.
for loving you. Yeah. Yeah.
And at that point, we were like caught up in that whole disco sucks era.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this band sucks. Blah, blah, what the fuck, dude?
Right.
I was like, that's what Kiss sounds like. And they look like that. They look
Right.
scary. So I never, and then all my friends, a lot of people grew up and they were like, oh, I was part of the Kiss Army growing up. But nobody in my school, nobody in my block liked Kiss at all. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody talked about it,
Right.
which is kind of weird because, you look back and one, they're a New York band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking, started in Queens. So like
Yeah.
you think that there would be, people
Yeah.
into it. And it took me until college. Like I was so against both of those bands
Yeah. Yeah.
in my head. And it
Right.
took me until I went to college and other people like I remember going to a friend's room and he's a big record collector and he pulls it. Oh, you like this record? It's the first Kiss album. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know? And I'm like, nah, not really. He puts it on. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I just got slowly, and then now I love it. Now I love
Yeah.
Kiss. I
Right.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the Dead. Like a friend of mine's like, you keep making fun of the Dead and shit like that, but do you ever really listen to them? I'm like, no, not really. He's
Yeah.
like, do me a favor, just take this home. And he gives me like American Beauty.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, this is
That's the one that'll get you.
this is awesome. And then Working Man's Dead. And
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
at the point now where I'm like, can talk to other Deadheads and be like, oh yeah, Cornell 78, great, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I could talk to Kiss people and be like, oh yeah,
Right.
Dress to Kill is my favorite
Yeah. Yeah.
Kiss album as a band, but I would go on record and say that my favorite Kiss album of all time is the Ace Frehley solo album.
Oh yeah. Right.
It's
I
one
know.
of the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do like a lot of those records, even
Yeah.
to the point of those records that, some of the songs, even on those terrible records, are good. They always
Yeah.
have good songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the vocals are insane. And
Yeah.
Gene Simmons, for what it's worth, is possibly the most underrated vocalist.
Yeah. I like his voice.
His
Yeah.
range is ridiculous, like
Yeah.
ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky to have friends who were in Ace Frehley's band, so I saw Ace a few times.
Oh, nice.
Meet him a few times, so that was
Yeah.
cool. I once saw him play a rehearsal show at the Gibson showroom.
Oh wow.
There's like 5 of us in front of him.
Yeah.
It was wild.
That's crazy, huh?
Wild, yeah. So that was
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, but that was, I that the Kiss and Grateful Dead. I mean, those are two extremely important American bands that
Yeah,
I
for
shunned as
sure.
a child. You know, up
Yeah.
until I was an adult. You know,
Huh. That's
but
cool.
but
Yeah.
now I like it.
Yeah. And then as far as playing music, when did you start playing music sort of seriously?
Well, I guess I really started playing with friends. Uh, I started playing with friends of mine in like junior high school.
Yeah.
Have some friends who were great musicians, way
Hmm.
better than I was.
Yeah.
Um, and we used to do cover stuff. They were, we were all um, those. I mean, I was too, though I didn't want to play the stuff. I'm a huge Rush fan,
Oh yeah.
but I
Me
didn't
too.
want to be in a Rush cover band.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those guys, all they wanted to play was Rush.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe I was a little disappointed that we were doing all these Rush covers, but I really
Right.
learned how to play.
Yeah.
I learned how to play a lot of stuff. So we
Yeah.
do like Rush covers, The Police, some stuff I'd sneak by. Like nothing too punky that they wouldn't like, but like, they didn't even like consider cool power pop to be cool. But I
Yeah.
come on, let's do this Cars song.
Right.
Let's
Right.
do this.
Yeah.
So, but if it was up to them, we'd just be in a Rush cover band.
Right.
So I started playing with those guys, and then I played with a lot of those same guys through high school,
Okay.
and then it wasn't until I got to college that I started playing in different bands,
Yeah.
and um, and it really wasn't. And then when I was at NYU, I played in a couple of things that I was real kind of dumb,
Yeah.
real dumb stuff. But then um, I had gone to, but I really wanted to be in like a professional band. I
Yeah.
really wanted to be in a band that was like putting records out, going on
Right.
tour, doing this and that. And I remember in my senior year at NYU, a friend of mine who were living in this the dorm we were living in had like 3 bedrooms in it, so it was like 5 dudes in this
Yeah.
place. Yeah, Skittles is here. Want to say hi?
Oh.
Say hi.
Hey, buddy.
Can you say hi? Look, Skittles. Can you say hi? Um, so some some friends of mine were like, "Oh, we're gonna go see this band. I think you'll really dig.
Yeah.
It's a wild theatrical band." And I'm like, "What
Hmm.
is it?" It's called The Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I've heard of that because I read about them in like Village Voice, but I didn't, let's go."
Yeah.
So we went to go see them, and it was insane. It was like
Yeah.
totally insane, like like a Budo theater meets a first grade
Yeah.
beauty pageant, and the
Right.
songs were really cool, and it was really fun, and I was like, "Wow, that was exciting." It's
Yeah.
like that's like I'd love to be in a band like that. It would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, like weirdly enough, like less than a month later, I had the Village Voice, and because this is way before internet days, so you
Yeah.
get the Village Voice when it came out and just scour the back pages,
Yeah.
and in the back pages it said drums and bass and drums wanted for Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black.
Oh wow.
Here's the number. So I called and I went to Samoa, the guitar player's
Yeah.
house, to
Yeah.
play with him. He's like, "Dude, you're great. Oh, well, it's and let's do it." So then that's when I joined Karen Black,
Yeah.
and I was in that band for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And
And for people not familiar with that, like so,
it's hard to explain. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
and also I have to excuse me sometimes for this situation, but I'm still really bitter
Yeah.
about some choices I made,
Hmm.
and still bitter about. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at
Okay.
I'm still
Okay.
bitter about like why I wasted a lot of time in the band. But
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
really young. I was
Yeah.
21
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
old when I joined the band, and we were
That's
and I had
crazy for a first band too. Like
yeah,
a
and
first
also
series.
I was 21 years old, and my first show with the
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
was July 4th,
Yeah.
1992 at CBGB's, like completely oversold out, like
Yeah.
insane, like totally
Right.
insane. And I think we played with, I think Blitzbeer played with us that night.
Oh wow.
Still friends with Phil and
Yeah.
Scott and KR from from Blitzbeer, all those guys. He's a
Yeah.
great graffiti writer.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, that was very exciting. I was really young,
Yeah.
and J.P. Patterson was the drummer, and
Okay.
he had just left, recently left Manitoba's Wild Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's a big turnaround there. You know,
Yeah.
it's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So J.P. Patterson, um, he is really an unbelievable drummer.
Yeah.
Like really one of the greatest drummers I've ever played with or ever seen.
Yeah.
He's simple. You know, most of his stuff is simple. He even tell you, you know, he keeps it simple.
Yeah.
But his consistency and his timing is impeccable. Like he's
Right.
the kind of guy, he does the drum track and then you put on the metronome and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like that kind of guy. He just has that internal clock.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows where everything is. He's
Hmm.
amazing. And his consistency is incredible. Like
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Like this guy is like the ultimate rock and roll drummer.
Yeah.
So I learned so much from him. I really learned how to play from him.
Hmm.
Before that I wasn't really a bass player. I was a guitar
Yeah.
player who happened to play bass.
Yeah.
And I really never had rigorous training from someone else who understood
Yeah.
where I was coming from,
Right.
where I wasn't yet, and he
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah.
So I learned so much from him, and and did our we started playing together, doing shows, and this is a band that really never toured ever.
Yeah.
Maybe they do one show out of town.
Yeah.
Very lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And JP and I was young, and JP was not. It's absolutely the opposite of lazy, especially then. And so it was like, okay, let's start doing out of town shows. Let's go
Yeah.
to Boston,
Right.
Boston, Connecticut, home. DC, Baltimore, home.
Yeah.
You know, go out to Ohio, come home. You know, like, and this was like very exciting and really
Yeah.
fun. And then we did a record with Andy Chernoff produced our first record,
Yeah.
and when we were in the studio doing that record, that's when I personally was like, oh, I'm going to start producing records.
Yeah.
So I was in there and I saw what Andy was doing,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to do
Yeah.
this well. So so that was a nice bug to put in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so we toured a lot, and then the second, you know, and then we got signed to Triple X Records
Yeah.
out of LA,
Hmm.
and I produced the second record
Yeah.
and put that out. We did another tour, and then after that tour, I was like, what am I doing? This is
Yeah.
like, there's nothing musical here going on.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
much musicality as JP and I try to put into it,
Yeah.
just really not musical.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm all for the show. The show
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
insane. It was fun. It
Right.
was
Yeah.
wild.
Right.
And I'm all for that. But I was like, we're really not progressing here musically.
Yeah.
And the songs aren't really getting
Right.
anywhere. And to prove that point, at this point, many years later, you know,
Hmm.
30 something years ago, many years later, I still have people who love the band, who
Yeah. Yeah.
peripherally and stuff like,
Right.
and they're like, dude, this video is amazing. Check it out. And it's a video that we did,
Yeah.
the song I produced,
Right.
played on,
Yeah.
probably played extra guitars and keyboard
Yeah. Yeah.
percussion on, and I don't know what it is. I'm in the
Yeah.
video,
Right. Yeah.
I'm seeing it, and I'm like, I don't remember doing this
Yeah. Yeah.
at all. I
Yeah.
don't remember this song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that it was memorable to begin with. I would have
Right.
probably remembered if it was memorable to begin with.
Yeah.
But I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Zero. Like there's zero anything. Like it's like that's not me.
Yeah.
Someone took AI and put me in this video.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But I was
interesting, right?
there. I was
Yeah.
there, and I'm like, that's bad.
Yeah.
I look back on it.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if I'd be like, yeah, dude, I was fucking wasted, dude. I was
Right.
drinking and
Yeah.
fucking doing drugs. I don't remember.
You just don't remember.
And if it was something, I'd be like, okay, that was it.
Yeah.
I wasn't. When I was in Karen Black, I didn't drink at all.
Yeah.
It's like completely straight edge at that time.
Yeah.
Not straight
Yeah.
edge, like
Right. Right.
lifestyle, but I was just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
straight edge, like I wasn't doing anything. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I don't remember it,
Huh.
that's bad. That's bad. And that's how that. And then honestly, that's how I view music across the board now. It took me a long
Yeah.
time. I
Yeah.
wish I
Yeah.
had that mindset when I was like
Right.
10 years old,
Yeah.
which I probably did because I just really liked what I remembered. But I was easily impressed by just heavy and cool
Yeah. Yeah.
shit. But now my way of looking at things is like when people give me records to listen to, they're
Yeah.
like, "What do you think of this? What do you think of this?" The worst response I can give
Yeah.
is I listened to it 5 times, and if you held a gun to my head, I couldn't sing you back one
Yeah.
fucking part.
Right.
I
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at I look at it like this. What is music? What is music for me? Music for me, number one, is songs.
Yeah.
If and that's all that matters.
Yeah. At the end of
It's
the
not
day.
all that matters, but it is
Right.
really all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number one is songs. If you don't remember the songs or
Yeah.
even the part of a song,
Yeah.
like there's songs like I remember some songs like the riffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't remember the whole song, but that's important too. But if
Yeah.
I remember, if I walk away remembering and singing stuff in my head and remember it
Yeah.
the second time I hear it, the third time, fifth time I hear it, or don't
Yeah.
hear it for years and hear it again, oh, I remember that song.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. The
Yeah.
second thing that matters, right under, like not little bit underneath it, is the sound.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now when I mean from that is like, yeah, I love krautrock.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I love Amandul too, and I love
Right.
you know, Noi,
Yeah.
and I love all that kind of stuff. I
Hmm.
really do.
Yeah.
And not to put those guys into this category, but there's a lot of stuff within that that's not
Yeah.
really song oriented.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about like one of my favorite bands ever, like Boren und der Club of Gore, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't remember the song,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I fucking remember the sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing like MX80 sound. I
Oh
listened to
yeah.
that today. I hadn't heard it in so long.
Yeah.
It's a couple of songs in there, but it's not really about that. It was about that
No.
fucking
The
wall of
feeling.
fucking noise and
Yeah.
Flying Saucer Attack. My Bloody Valentine had songs, but if you didn't even hear the whole record when you first hear it, you just what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Right? It's like
There's a wall of.
yeah, like the sound is a big factor. You know, it's like a band like perfect examples like Born or Le Bradford
Yeah.
or bands like sometimes it's hard to separate some bands like you talk about Kraftwerk and Kraftwerk had songs like they
Yeah.
have amazing songs,
Yeah.
but there are parts of their records that aren't as memorable, but the sound is just like, oh, this is
Yeah.
fucking cool, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
amazing. Like Zombie, like that new
Oh
band
yeah.
Zombie, like
Yeah.
they don't have any songs.
Right.
They have some riffs. I'll give them
Yeah.
that. They
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
any songs that I remember, but I love the sound. I went to go
Yeah.
see them twice. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
They create this.
Yeah, and I'm also really into soundtracks. Like I
Yeah.
love art. I love like Ennio Morricone and all that. Fabio Frizzi and all that kind of
Yeah.
shit. I buy soundtracks. I buy
Yeah.
my favorite movies. I buy
Yeah.
the soundtracks. When hip hop first came out, there was
Yeah.
plenty of songs, but when you
Right.
when you first hear this over the top fucking kick, this boom bap, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a sound. That's a sound.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
sound. Whether I want to or not, I can't
Right.
escape from that.
Yeah.
And some people hate it. I heard it and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking
Yeah.
crazy. I loved it. Like
Yeah.
I loved, and to me, that the early stages of hip hop through the 90s are amazing. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened after that
Yeah.
because to me, the 90s were the worst era of music ever.
Yeah.
To me, I hate rock and roll from the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have I want my money back from Sub Pop
Yeah.
fucking merch records. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
terrible fucking garbage I bought.
There's a lot of bad stuff.
Oh my god, terrible, like
Yeah.
terrible, unmemorable garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for every, that whole grunge movement, for every great Mudhoney song, there are like
Yeah.
5,000 terrible
Right. Yeah.
that I can't fucking stand. Like,
Yeah.
and for
Yep.
every good, for every, there was just terrible stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It was a lot of.
90s hip hop was still going. It was
Yeah.
getting better. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is good. And then all of a sudden, everything dropped off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
like
know. Right. Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
it seemed like after 90s hip hop, everyone just forgot how to write.
Yeah.
Songs.
Yeah.
Forgot how to write songs, and they were,
Yeah.
and
Hardcore was changing too a lot.
yeah, I mean, hardcore got so much more metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It got so much more metal, and and I don't like it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
get me wrong.
right.
I'm a huge fan
Yeah,
of crossover stuff. Like my
yeah, yeah,
favorite, like when people talk about New York hardcore,
yeah,
New York hardcore and stuff like that. Like my favorite bands from New York hardcore are you know the metal rejects from Long Island,
yeah.
Budapest and Crumbsuckers. To
Crumb
me,
suckers,
those
yeah,
were the best two bands. They
yeah.
were the best because they
Oh
were
yeah,
metal. They were metal dudes playing
yeah,
hardcore.
yeah, yeah,
Those guys could fucking play.
yeah,
Both bands were amazing.
yeah.
Like,
When I
yeah, I love that stuff. But and don't get me wrong, I love that first Cro-Mags record.
yeah,
But I don't like anything after that. Everything
yeah,
after that, I'm just like, oh, this is not cool.
yeah.
And I
I
love
thought,
the first full-length agnostic front record, but after
yeah,
that, I'm just like, oh, this is unlistenable.
yeah,
Unlistenable. I can't stand it.
yeah.
And I
You,
was in Murphy's Law.
yeah. I was just gonna say you played with
Murphy's
Murphy's
Law
Law.
put out cool records, but
Yeah,
they even though they're a New York hardcore band, quote
yeah,
unquote,
yeah,
they're more of a punk rock
yeah, yeah. Just like a
band
fun, yeah,
with songs
yeah,
great. Songs
yeah.
great. Sure, people could call them goofy,
Right.
whatever, but they're great.
Yeah, they're an
Songs are
institution
great. Yeah,
in the world of.
songs are great.
Yeah. How was that experience playing with Murphy's Law? You
It
played with
was
Todd Youth, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. I played with Todd. It was when I was in the band. It was me and Todd Youth and Eric Arce, Goat on
yeah,
drums,
yeah.
and who I went on to play with. We played together after that in Crown of Thorns.
Okay.
I played guitar in Crown of Thorns.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's where I got this.
yeah.
Lord Ezek was selling
Yeah.
these on his thing. I went for it.
That dude is the funniest.
I've never met him, but yeah,
He's the best. If you met him and tell him, oh, I know Dean Rispler, he's the
yeah,
best.
yeah,
He's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, the Murphy's Law. It's so funny to think about this, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off saying this. When I went on tour with the Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black, now that
yeah,
was a band full of fucking absolute freaks,
yeah, yeah,
right? And we were catering to freaks.
yeah, yeah,
This was like just burgeoning Marilyn Manson time,
yeah, yeah.
accepting the androgyny of whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So the people we brought out were absolute fucking freaks.
Yeah.
And like, sure, we're from New York City, but we're surrounded by freaks. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the guy who just sold me a token in the MTA booth is a fucking freak, right? It
Right.
doesn't matter. But when you go to Sioux City, Iowa,
Yeah.
it's fucking when you meet a freak from fucking Omaha, Nebraska,
Yeah.
like you stepped into some sort of fucking
Yeah.
Butthole Surfers video.
Yeah. It was like the
you
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, you stepped
Like
into like
fucking.
a David Lynch movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucking freaks. Like these
Yeah.
are people who are like out there, right?
Yeah.
So I've met a lot of freaky people who
Yeah.
looked freaky, acted freaky, said freaky things, blah blah blah. And this is also not to belittle any of these people, but you and I, we're from the Northeast.
Yeah.
You grew up in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you and I grew up with no matter how we did in school, we grew up in very good school districts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even at the worst, we grew up with a really good educational system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who did not.
Yeah.
The rest of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's one thing to meet people who are really freaky, but it's another thing to meet people who are really freaky and really kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
kind of ignorant.
Yeah.
But everyone was nice for the most part. For the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I had my fill of the American weirdo dumb people. And then I went on tour with Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
I've never met dumber fucking people in my life at these shows.
Yeah.
And some real sweethearts, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I've never met dumb. I met people that like within 15 minutes you could fool them into sucking your cock. It's like unbelievable, like really dumb, like dumb beyond belief. Like I was just like, holy shit. I was like, and don't again. I'm being very extreme here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about this.
Yeah.
From some really cool people, some really lovely people, but the extreme of that group of people, it was like, wow, what am I talking to?
Right.
It's not even who am I talking to? What the
Right.
fuck am I talking? This person is damaged beyond belief, like
Yeah.
beyond belief. Like of all
Yeah.
the damaged people I met in the New York hardcore scene,
Yeah.
the New York punk scene, those people
Nothing
are
compares. Yeah.
absolutely functional
Yeah.
compared to some of these people from Nowheresville,
Right. Right.
Oh God, it's really eye-opening.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
eye-opening. It's also really sad. It's really
Yeah.
sad because you have, here we are in America, in the USA, and thinking that, there was a time, that we had a really great educational system. And now we don't. And
Yeah.
now the current administration,
It's getting
uh,
dismantled now.
it's not only getting dismantled, but the current administration is celebrating anti-intellectualism.
Yeah. I know it's fucking
It, wha-
nuts.
it, I
Yeah.
don't understand when that happened.
Yeah. I know it's
It's one
fucking
thing to be like, okay, I'm a fundamental
right.
Christian, and this is what I believe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck you if whatever. No, no, this has nothing to do with that. This is just
Yeah.
fucking anti-intellectual. This is
Yeah. Yeah.
Maoism. This is fucking Maoism
Yeah. Yeah. It's
in
brutal.
covered in some capitalist scheme.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
It's
unbelievable. But that
yeah.
was my first. That I remember coming home from those tours and being like, "Wow, I think we're in trouble." As a
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're in trouble. And of course,
Yeah.
here we are. Here we are 30
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah.
Which,
That was what the mid '90s, late '90s.
yeah, when I went
Yeah.
on tour with Murphy's Law is 96.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, we had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
fun. I mean,
Yeah.
Todd Youth was an amazing guitar player. He's
Yeah.
hilarious. Me
Yeah.
and Goat became like super close on that tour.
Yeah.
We ended up playing
Yeah.
with the band together.
Right.
Jimmy always, no matter what, always put on an unbelievable show.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had Raven with us playing sax.
Oh yeah.
He was
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
And then we also came on tour with us was Russ from Underdog
Oh wow.
and
Nice.
Rat. I don't know, you know who Rat Bones is?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the Rat Bones was with us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
And
see him on Drew Stone's
yeah, and
podcast.
those
He's
and those
always
guys were in a much different mindset too. So
yeah.
both those guys are clean now, but back
Ah,
then,
that yeah. At that
woohoo!
time, no.
Oh my God, it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy. So I got to see some really
Fun stuff.
very let's just say I got to see some um, real seedy underbelly things
Yeah.
in towns that we were already in the underbelly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really, it was, but you know what? I'll tell you what was really fun too about looking back at the Murphy's Law tour. That we didn't have phones, we didn't have internet.
Yeah. I know you're just
The
out
best
and
was the best was is like the tours that I did with Karen Black.
yeah.
I was like, these fucking idiots are never going to get anywhere. I have to print
Right.
everything out. And luckily,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
worked at a place that had a printer,
Yeah. Yeah.
fax machine, and I was like, I would write to the promoter, and they'd fax me directions. All the
Yeah.
I had like a booklet. Like when we
Yeah.
left, I had a book. And so with Murphy's Law, I was like, oh, these guys have been on tour their whole life. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The best is like, where are we going? Oh, we're going to Cincinnati. And you know where the club is? Nah. So how do you know where you're going? Oh, when we get into Cincinnati, we usually look for like we usually look for what the historically ghetto area is. If it says Martin Luther King Jr.
It's
Boulevard,
probably
we'll
around
get
there.
off there, and we're pretty sure it's a rundown neighborhood. And then we'll drive through, and if we see a punk on the side of the road, we'll be like, "Hey, you going to the show?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know how to get there?" He's like, "Yeah, come on in." And then it happened like 3 or 4 times. We just
That's
pick up
amazing.
some random punk walking in like the middle of a slum,
Right.
knowing he's going to our show.
Right.
Just it.
Nice.
It's really weird. But it worked. We got
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. And then you started doing some production stuff.
Yeah. I started I had already done the Karen Black record,
Yeah.
and then I started working a lot. I have a selective memory about what I was working on, but the stuff that I was working on that I really like and remember, I did Killing Time's the
Killing
End,
time.
which I love that record. I
Yeah.
revisited that record recently.
Yeah. You did that EP too, right? The Unavoidable EP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Those
Unavoidable.
guys are like, they need to be more. They should be on the same tier as like a Sick of It All, and I feel like
They're better than all those bands.
yeah,
They're
just
better
like
than all those bands. They are
still
more
like the
musical.
newer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're also more musical.
Yeah.
better players and
Yeah.
better than all those bands. Way
Yeah.
better. I mean, those guys can really fucking
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. From day
And
one, I think they've been.
I mean, and all those guys are really open-minded. Like,
Yeah.
fortunately, Sean, well, Sean doesn't play with them anymore. He was a great
No.
bass player, but Seawolf's a great bass player, but he's a great guitar player too.
Yeah.
And Rich McLaughlin, rest in peace, was a great guitar player,
Yeah.
really open-minded, hilarious,
Yeah.
and Carl Porcaro is an amazing guitar player,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Drago's incredible. These
Yeah.
guys really can play, and for as much as he loves to complain, Anthony Kaminali,
Yeah.
is an amazing hardcore singer. He's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
unreal, right?
Yeah.
That record, like I hadn't listened to it in a long time, but since they started doing shows again,
Yeah.
I was hearing stuff online, like listening
Yeah.
on my phone, like
Yeah.
and then they would like how people put up these, like we do it. We put up a
Yeah.
post, we put up background music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they would put up a post about upcoming shows, and
Yeah.
sometimes it'd be something off a Bright Side,
Right.
sometimes it'd be something off the Method, and I'd hear it on the
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
holy
nice.
shit, what's that? I'm like, oh, I heard this guy.
I
So I
did
had to
that.
go back and listen to that. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this record is fucking,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
fucking
great.
phenomenal record. It's like wow, like fucking
Yeah.
brutal and
Yeah.
fucking, and like Drago wrote most of those lyrics, and he's really thoughtful. He's like the
Yeah.
peer of hardcore. That guy has
Yeah. Yeah.
really fucking
Right.
forward-thinking, introspective, like really beautiful lyrics,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they just play so good, man. And
Yeah.
the riffs are great. There's like, you could tell at that time, like those guys, like whereas all the other hardcore bands were just into hardcore, like these guys,
Yeah.
like we were talking about in the studio, it's like, oh, this is like a Jesus Lizard part. Like, oh yeah, and those other
Yeah.
dudes in the fucking doofus of the hardcore band, they didn't
Right.
know who the fuck any of
Right.
that shit was.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
guys were into fucking
Yeah.
rep and the cool
That
stuff
kind of
of the
stuff. Yeah.
90s. And also, Carl, who's an amazing guitar player, he was a Deadhead growing up.
Oh, really? Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah, so like
Yeah.
he's very well rounded. He could
Yeah.
really fucking play. He could really
Yeah.
play. So that influence came through.
Yeah.
So,
How did you get involved with the Dick? Oh, you mentioned
well, yeah. So I was in Karen Black with J.P. Patterson,
yeah.
and we had played together for so long that we played in a bunch of other stuff for a while.
Yeah.
So we ended up playing. Well, him and Ross from Ross the Boss
Yeah.
from Man of War Dictators. They after they had Dictators used to go to Spain all the time, even when
Okay.
I was in Spain.
Yeah.
They were very popular in Spain.
Yeah.
Ross and JP took the opportunity to be like, hey, let's go to Spain more often, make a little money. Why don't we do our own band with these
Yeah.
guys that we're friends with in Spain,
Yeah.
called the Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
So they had this band called the Thunderbolts,
Mm.
and Thunder Boss, and all these different, just fun bands
Yeah.
to go on tour with and
Yeah. Yeah.
have fun, right? So JP wanted to do a couple of records. He did a record, Thunder Boss, with him and
Okay.
Ross, and then he wanted to play live a bit, so we started
Yeah.
playing live a bit. And then next thing you know, during that time, the old Continental, the club,
Yeah.
Continental was stopping. They were not closing, but they were
Right.
stopping to do live shows. They weren't going to
Right.
do live shows anymore. So they were doing their 1 month of last live shows with big shows.
Yeah.
So at that point was one of a million times where Andy Chernoff and Handsome Dick Manitoba weren't talking.
Yeah.
And Handsome Dick was approached by Trigger from Continental to do this, and Andy didn't want to do it. He didn't even want
Right.
to do us. He didn't want to see Richard, and so those guys were like, "We want to do this. We want to do
Yeah.
the show." So they asked me to play bass.
Yeah.
So we did like basically a Manitoba's Wild Kingdom set with a couple
Yeah.
of Dictator songs, and
Right.
that was really fun. That went really
Nice.
well. But then I didn't really see those other guys for a little while, and then then JP and I started playing in. JP got me into Richard Lloyd's group, because Richard.
Oh, wow.
So
How was that?
oh, another mental illness case, dude.
Yeah.
This guy suffers from extreme clinical narcissism,
Oh, really? Yeah.
extreme, like extreme,
Yeah.
like scary. Like
Yeah.
he does not give a shit. He asks you questions, but he does not give it. He's looking at you just
Yeah.
so he could talk.
Waiting for you to stop talking.
It's really scary. I mean, I think he's a little better now. I think they mixed his cocktail because he's actually touring again, and
Yeah.
what everyone said, he's been really cool, but he
Right.
was bad, dude, like really
Yeah.
bad. And he was, he was also dabbling again with drugs again when I was
Right.
drinking a lot when I was in the band.
Yeah.
Um, the shows were fun to a point because when I was so nervous because I'm such a big television fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I love that first record so much. I
Oh,
do
yeah.
like some of the second record, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Same.
love that first record so
First ones.
much. It
Yeah.
really changed my life. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
and
perfect record.
it's amazing. And so when I started playing with Richard, I was so nervous about getting everything right and correct.
Yeah.
And then after like a few rehearsals, I realized, oh, this guy doesn't care about the structure.
Right.
Like he's going to do whatever he wants, and sometimes miss a verse or
Right.
come out of something way later than he should have.
Yeah.
I'm just going to.
Try
It
to keep
got to
up.
the point where it was like, oh, it's just really an improv gig
Yeah.
with like songs around it. And it was so funny because I realized that pretty quick and so I would just go crazy. Like it
Yeah.
got to the point where like I remember the last couple of shows I played, I just brought back all this kind of shit that I would do in high school. Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna solo, I'm gonna solo too. It was so funny because I was like, this is ridiculous. And the funniest shit about it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is terrible. He's gonna hate me. After the show, he loved it. And people who had seen the band like 1,000 times were like, this is the greatest lineup ever. You guys got to keep playing together. This is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
And I look at them and I'd be like, you, sir, are a fucking moron. This was a
How
high
high
school
are you
band.
right now? Yeah.
I was like, this was a high school band, basically. Fucking, except for
Right.
JP keeping, that's why JP's so good. He
Yeah. Yeah.
used to be, we're not going to veer that far.
Right. Right.
But, um, but things got really tense with him towards the end. And listen, say whatever you want about he said, she said, but I left the band
Yeah.
after an argument. JP immediately left the band. After I left the band, he was like, fuck you, I'm not playing without Dean. And
Yeah.
then they went on tour like 2 months later with other people.
Yeah.
And they go on tour and he's at the height of his insanity.
Yeah.
They get to Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened, but he they were talking to the opening band,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what happened, but he ended up like punching the girlfriend
Oh, Jesus.
of someone in the opening band.
Yeah.
And the opening band beat the living piss out of him
Yeah.
to the point that he was in hospital in
Oh, wow.
Minneapolis for like 6
Yeah.
months.
Huh.
And I think that's when they said, "Okay, we got to
Right.
change your whole
Yeah.
chemical makeup."
Yeah.
So I'm glad I wasn't in the band.
Yeah. For that,
That
I
would
know.
have been
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. I couldn't. I don't want to ever talk to him again.
Yeah.
I don't wish
Yeah.
him. He's touring again, and everyone
Yeah.
said, all my friends who are promoters, I warned them. I said, listen, if he might be weird. They said, no,
Right.
he's been nothing but a sweetheart. It's been really
Oh,
nice.
okay. So,
So whatever, that's fine. But
yeah.
so long story longer, JP after that gig, the
Yeah.
last gig with, he's like, hey, you want to play with Dictators again? I think we're gonna do it without you.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to do it, and
Yeah.
everyone else wants to. And I said, okay. So we started playing, and
Yeah.
that was the best part-time job.
Yeah. I was gonna say that must have been a lot of fun, huh?
It was the best part-time job I ever had.
Yeah. And what? How come it was? Didn't they go by Dictators NYC? Was that what the?
Well, we originally went by Manitoba,
Yeah.
and that was confusing.
Yeah.
There used to be a band called Manitoba that
Right.
Manitoba actually sued, so they couldn't use the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's confusing in one. And also for the Europeans, they didn't really understand. And then there was also the legal problems of not being
Yeah.
able to use Dictators. So then we just, I guess, Manitoba decided, okay, we're going to call it Dictators NYC.
Yeah.
So we called it that, and that we had already gone to Spain once or twice, and it was really
Right.
good. But after we
Yeah.
changed the name, we were able to do like full on European tours, like
Yeah. Yeah.
much bigger money.
Right.
And then, but of course, that started a whole legal war with Andy Chernoff.
Okay.
Uh, so, but that was a great part-time job for like
Yeah.
8 or
Yeah.
9 years, and it was
Uh,
really wonderful. I'm in love with Spain. I'm
yeah.
totally in love with Spain, and Portugal is
Yeah.
amazing. The whole
Hmm.
Iberian Peninsula. So we used to do full European tours and then go into Spain, and then we come back just to do Spain on its own.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
the Dictators
That's
were,
awesome.
and I fell in love with that
Yeah.
place. Yeah, I mean, like amazing people, unbelievable food. Like the food,
Yeah.
just like my wife loved it. I brought my wife. We weren't even married yet. I brought my wife to Spain a few
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. The first time I brought her over there, um, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay for you and Jen, who's her best friend. I'm gonna pay for you guys to come over.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm finishing the tour in Barcelona.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys go to Barcelona
Hmm.
and hang out there for 2 or 3 days, and then I'll meet you there, and then
Yeah.
I'm renting a car, and we're gonna drive up to the Basque Country. We're gonna stay in Bilbao, which I'm
Oh wow.
totally in love with, right?
Yeah.
So, so I show up after at the end of the tour,
Yeah.
and my wife and Jen, Lucy and Jen, are having the greatest time of their life. Like
Yeah.
they're like a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine who does tour promotion over there, knew that Lucy's like a total pothead, so
Yeah.
she hooked him up with some dude who runs like a under the radar, not so illegal but illegal dispensary. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's like under like they let it go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. The place is better than anything I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. I bet.
But so she hooked them up with this dude who like got them all this weed, and
Yeah.
they're drinking all day, smoking weed, and these two
Yeah.
girls, they became best friends in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
They're like
So
pros. They're like fucking
yeah.
heavyweight pros, right?
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
they're having the greatest time of their life.
Yeah.
Like I show up and it's midday. They're already drunk and high and having the greatest time, eating the greatest food, and to the point where they've only been there a few days and they're taking me to places I haven't been.
Right.
So we spent a couple of days there, and then the night before we go, I said, "Okay, guys, tomorrow I'm getting up. I'm going to get the car. We got to pack
Yeah.
up." And then both of them start crying. We don't want to leave Barcelona. Let's
Yeah.
cancel and stay in Barcelona. I'm like, guys, listen to me. It gets
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like,
Right.
no, no, we don't want to leave. I'm telling you, it gets better. And
Yeah.
then, so the next day we got the car and they reluctantly got in and we started driving. It's like a 6-hour drive up.
Yeah.
And as soon as we hit the foothills of the Pyrenees Mountains, where everything turns like every single shade of green you've ever
Right.
seen, they were just like, "What the fuck is this? What is going on?" And then, and then the best is we get it, and I got some Airbnb or some shit that I didn't. I looked it up and I didn't really know. It was a great price and it looked cool,
Yeah.
but I didn't really do any research into it.
Yeah.
It turns out it's like the biggest, the oldest. I'm sorry, the oldest building in the old city of Bilbao
Yeah.
used to be the fort.
Right.
And like when you walk to the front door is like two stories high. It's like one of
One
those.
of those. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we were like at the top floor,
Ah, that's amazing.
overlooking the whole city in this amazing place. And these guys are like, "What the fuck, dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm telling you, it gets better." And then we walk downstairs,
Yeah.
walk to the street. I'm like, let's go explore the city. As soon as we walk outstairs, there's like 5 to 10 people like, "Dean, what's up? What's up?" They're like, "What the fuck is going on? Are you the mayor of this town?" And I'm like, "I'm telling you, this is a great city. I met a lot of great people here, and
Yeah.
couldn't believe how many people
That's
I had
amazing.
met know
Yeah.
me, this kind of stuff, and just from being people friendly there,
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
it was awesome,
Awesome.
awesome. I would live there in a second
Yeah.
if there was money to be made,
I know.
just a little bit, just to get
Yeah. I know. Right.
job. But there's nothing I can't.
Yeah. Um, to sort of wind it down, what have you been what's some new stuff you're into for music?
Oh, what I'm into, as far
Yeah.
as I'm into, it's as I have to compartmentalize. As far as new stuff,
Yeah.
that I'm into, I really like the new Dark Meditation record.
Okay.
I think it's a legally out I think legally out tomorrow, but I have the
Yeah.
pre-release.
Okay. I don't
Uh,
know them.
they're
What
great.
kind of stuff is
They're
that?
from Portland.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, they're from Seattle. They're
Yeah.
from Seattle, and you like In Solitude?
No, I don't know. I don't know them
You
either.
know In Solitude?
No.
Um, they're very much like goth metal,
Okay.
like whereas they're metal but have
Yeah.
gothy type
Yeah.
hinges, and it's
Okay.
like it would be a great tour with Unto Others.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's more metal than Unto Others.
Yeah.
Unto
Yeah.
Others a
Okay.
little more on the goth side, but they're
Yeah.
gothy and they're incredible band.
Yeah.
They're really good. That's new. That's
Yeah.
something new I just got. I just
Yeah.
bought the new Night record, NIT.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always like that band.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm friends with those guys.
Yeah.
Friendly with them. When I was working for Gimme Metal, uh, Patrick, the drummer, was also a DJ on there.
Yeah.
I really like them. I bought the new. I'm old friends with Adam and Stacy and John from Savage Master. So I
Oh,
got
all
the
right.
Savage Master record. Those
Yeah.
haven't arrived yet. They may have it. I'm not at home, but
Yeah.
so those are cool records.
Yeah. You got me into that on that podcast. I always forget how to pronounce the band Oranzi
Oh, Randy Pazuzu. Yeah, that
that
new record's great. Dude. That
I
record's
put
great.
I ordered it that night. I went online and listened to it a little bit, and then
Crazy.
when it came, I got high and listened to it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's a
It's
perfect example of like the sound. Like,
yeah, the
like
sound
what
was
is
just like
going on? Like
yeah,
really fucked up. Like really.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then I
you.
watched some of their videos, and their music videos are pretty
Oh, I haven't seen it.
fucking
But
disturbing.
if you like the Ranzi Pazuzu stuff, there's a band from Finland as well called Reveal.
Okay,
Check that out too. They
yeah,
put out a
okay,
really cool record a few years
yeah.
ago that I really like. Um, I'm trying to think of newer stuff that I've been listening to. Um, I don't know what I bought recently.
I know I have just shit just shows up
Yeah,
on
coming
pre-order or
in.
whatever.
I mean, I did order the new Word or Gals Weird, whatever it's
Gall's
called.
weird.
I
Yeah,
really love that first EP.
yeah,
I thought that first record was transcendental,
yeah, yeah.
and they put out the EP, which is okay, not as
Right.
good as the other. But this one, I heard the one song, and I was
It's
really
good.
psyched about that.
Nice.
Uh, my non-metal stuff. I mean, my friends. I have friends in that band, the Ravagers,
Yeah,
and I bought that new record. That should be waiting for me at home. That's really
yeah,
cool. Really
yeah,
cool. I like the Biters. I thought the Biters were pretty good. We toured with them a little bit.
yeah,
My friend who's in the Ravagers was in that band, but I think the Ravagers are better. I think
yeah,
they're more have a little more faces, swagger.
yeah,
Faces are one of my favorite bands ever. So,
yeah. I love the faces.
but I'm trying to think of what else. Like as far as old stuff that as far as stuff that I've been listening to that I also just to mention it, and I know everybody. It's the trend of the year.
Hmm.
There's two things I'm leaving out as far as metal goes. The trend of the year, which I'm not disappointed about, because usually everyone talks about one band or one record,
Yeah,
and you're like, really, really. But the one record that I have to say, and I have their early records. I saw them on their first tour, but that new Blood Incantation is pretty
yeah,
special. It's pretty.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
these guys
yeah,
are
yeah. It's fucking
unbelievably
nuts.
ambitious, and they
Yeah,
kind of got it. So
yeah,
I thought that was amazing, and I also
yeah.
think the new Bed Sore is
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, I haven't
oh,
heard
it's
that.
incredible. Have their record before this, and it's sort of like in a weird way, not as extreme, but in a weird way, I loved the Bed Sore record before this, but I
Yeah,
love this one even more. And it's almost like that Meat Puppets thing, like wow,
yeah.
these guys learned how to play, and
Completely different.
the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
record is like
yeah,
wow, really crazy.
yeah.
But as far as old stuff goes, I've been listening to the Tubes a lot.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
really like the first two Tubes records.
yeah. I love their fucking records are great.
So good, so good.
Uh,
Really great players,
yeah,
great songs, really
yeah,
funny.
yeah,
And I guess you have to have that. You meet people and either they're Zappa fans or they're not. So
yeah.
I am. So even the
Me
goofy
too.
stuff,
Yeah,
I understand why people get annoyed by it, but
yeah,
I like it. So
yeah,
I like the Tubes and
yeah.
you know, um,
I've gone hard in Zappa in the last like year. Like I've always been a fan, but I've been just because there was so many records I avoided for years, and now I'm
Yeah.
just they're all like making sense now, like Waka Jawaka and like
Oh yeah, it's killer, killer. Like
Weasels
I
Rip
think
My
my
Flesh.
favorite record of his though is "Cruising with Ruben and the Jets."
That's a great, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
this guy just went for it.
yeah,
He was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna make a '50s record. It's like,
I know,
holy.
I
But
know.
I love his guitar playing. Like
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
listen to his, I could listen to some solo all the time.
yeah, yeah.
So fucking unique. It's like
Oh
really,
yeah,
hey kid, kick off there.
yeah.
Um,
Especially the stuff on the rock, like around 74. His guitar playing is just.
yeah. But the guitar solos, my favorite guitar solos are that those guitar solo sections on "Chic Your Booty," like Rat
Oh yeah,
Tamago.
Rat Tamago and
Like, what the fuck,
yeah,
dude? Like, nobody
yeah.
played like that.
No,
It's
I
fucking
know.
crazy, like really
Yeah.
crazy, like really. Um, Speaking of guitar players, that been a heavy listening kick of Lowell George and the
Oh
Lowell
yeah,
George era.
yeah, yep.
Um,
Little
Little
feet
Feat,
and
like I
yeah,
really like that a lot.
yeah.
And then I've also been listening to some singer-songwriter stuff like Blaze Foley
Yeah. Okay.
and Towns Van Zandt a little bit.
Yeah.
I like a lot of that stuff. I just saw. I guess what got me into it is that when I saw Uncle Acid, the opening act was this guy Jonathan Hulton,
Okay.
who comes out in this elaborate, really elaborate, over the top,
Yeah.
androgynous outfit.
Hmm.
Does everything by himself. He has a guitar, and but he has
Yeah.
all these pedals and all the backing tracks. And it was like Nick Lowe, not Nick Lowe. It was like Nick. It was like
Nick Drake.
not Nick Drake,
Yeah.
but but modernized and weird,
Huh. Oh
weird
wow.
backing vocals and stuff. Really cool stuff. So I
What's
really
his name again?
Jonathan Hulton,
Jonathan Holton.
Hulten.
I always do this. I write it down and then I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, dude, you're fucking recording this and you're gonna probably listen to it 80 fucking times when you edit it. But I'm
What I
like,
try to do is when someone gives me something, I either write it down, I go straight to Spotify.
yeah, and I add it to yeah, same here.
Yeah, so I really like so watching Jonathan Hulton, I was like, oh wow, it got me back into like the singer songwriter thing.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, the honest truth, I could talk about all this obscure weird
Yeah.
shit all day, but the honest truth is I'm still a big radio fan. I listen to
Yeah.
radio all the time.
Yeah.
I have the radio app, the radio.net app,
Yeah.
and I listen to my my favorite station as of late. This is a station out of near Asbury Park,
Oh, okay.
WMTR. It's an AM
Yeah.
station, which I don't even
Yeah.
know if people have AM radios anymore, but
I know.
it's a fantastic oldie station, and
Yeah.
that's my favorite stuff is oldies,
Yeah.
R&B,
Yeah.
all like it's gotten to the point where I got so deep into oldies and the old,
Hmm.
like 50s stuff and the I started listening to that podcast History of Rock and 500 Songs by
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter Hickey. So I
Yeah.
started listening to that a lot,
Yeah.
and he starts in like the 20s,
Yeah.
so that's where I've been searching more.
Oh
I'm
wow.
searching more for that, like the pre rock and roll R&B stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I love that stuff, man. I
Yeah. Yeah.
really love that stuff. Like the like Wynonie Harris and
Okay.
Big Joe Turner and all
Yeah.
that kind of shit, Ella Mae Morse. So I love that stuff. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And then because of listening to the show, of course, I start listening to that and then I follow along and start listening. And I've I've re-fallen in love with the Marvin Gaye stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just like fucking that guy's a genius,
I
man.
know. Yeah. Yeah. I
And
know.
I've always been in love with the Motown, like the Holland, Dozier, Holland.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, there's that, and I've been listening a lot to "Hard Again" by Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's his greatest record,
Yeah.
despite it being from
That's a great record.
1970s.
Yeah.
It's like, think about it. He already lived a whole life and whole career.
Yeah. And then
The
did.
70s came, everyone thought like, oh, blues is over.
Yeah.
Puts out that record. It's like,
I
what
know.
the fuck?
That's how I feel about John Lee Hooker did those records with Canned Heat. I love
Oh,
those records.
it's a killer, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That other record's great. That Free Chicken and Beer record.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Those
Yeah.
records are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also really fell in love with Hound Dog Taylor. I
Yeah.
love those records. And I don't know if you've seen, it's just a video, but I don't know if you've seen the video for Sam's Boogie.
No.
Magic Sam
Yeah.
showing up to a show, and he doesn't even his guitars. They lost his guitars on the flight or something. They didn't even have his
Right.
guitars there, so he shows up and using Earl Hooker's guitar.
Oh wow.
If you see, you could watch it on YouTube, and people
Yeah.
have been posting it a lot on Instagram. It's only like a 2 minute
Yeah.
mental break, but
I'll
it's
have
the
to look at it.
greatest 2 minutes ever,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
ever, ever, ever. So
Yeah.
I've just been watching that over and over and
Yeah.
over again. It's just like the craziest fucking guitar playing,
Yeah.
and it's just phenomenal. You just
Nice.
yeah. So, and of
Awesome.
course, I've been listening to because David Johansen died. I revisited
Yeah. Yeah.
Walls
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and revisited some of the Damn stuff, not because of Brian James. I was already revisiting the Dams. I'd just seen them not too long ago,
Yeah.
and I listened to Strawberries over and over again.
Oh yeah. I
That's
like
like the
that.
Dams really learned how to play, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they
Another
make
one
a
of those. Yeah.
Motown record.
Yeah. I know, right?
Who didn't
Yeah.
make a Motown record just in our way?
I
Fucking
know, right?
phenomenal.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, man.
Well,
Well,
thank you
but
for having me on. I
yeah,
appreciate
of course. I will talk to you soon,
it.
sir.
Yes, and have a great weekend.
You too.
I'll see you,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye bye.